I'd like to face G2 just because it's
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, it's two very creative teams, right?
Yeah, and I think we'll beat them for sure.
Today is another day at the Worlds 2024 Swiss stage, and unfortunately, despite putting on absolute cinema against On One Life, it was a box office fail. I think. I mean, it was so close. It was such a nail biter of a game, or a match rather, like especially after game two. So, I mean, just first of all, can you walk me through how you're feeling after taking On One Life in a match?
I mean, right now I'm feeling like, all right. Like I'm very sad we didn't win the series because we'd immediately be locked to go to Paris.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not that sad because I feel like we showed a lot, and that gives us confidence for our next opponents. It shows like even versus number 1 LCK seed, we could have easily won. And myself, I felt like I made like a handful of mistakes, but overall I was playing pretty well, pretty aware in the game, and that makes me happy because that makes me feel like next match will be a win.
Yeah, and I mean something that is really interesting about you, and I find it very commendable as well, is how much work you put on in improving. And I think we've heard as well that like even like in scrims or like rewatching VODs, you often tend to take notes, right, and like try to learn about like all the micro mistakes that you make and stuff. So can you like walk me through how you're gonna be treating this match in terms of improving, moving forward as well, and what are you taking as well from playing against On One Life today?
I mean, I'm just gonna watch all 3 VODs back, look at what I was doing, look at what the enemy support was doing to kind of better understand what was happening, and then also like of course I'll just rewatch all the macro, all the team fights. Yeah, just look at everything. It's great. You have 3 games to review with yourself in the game and a really good team in the game, and I can see how they react to what I did. So it's just like it's like the most valuable learning I can get.
Yeah, makes sense. And aside from this, I mean, you've been playing League since you were 7, actually, I believe.
Yeah.
You reached Challenger for the first time at 15. You won the LCS at 20, and now you're at Worlds as well. I mean, like, when is for you the goal to ultimately win Worlds in a few years? And like, when is it happening at this point? Because I mean, you're looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, of course the goal is always to win.
Yeah.
But winning Worlds is like a goal that I wouldn't set for myself yet, because that's obviously very difficult as an NA team. You know, it's never happened before. Not to say it can't happen. Like as you saw, like today, it was super close.
Yeah.
So that gives a lot of hope. But my personal goal is like I don't look that far ahead. Honestly, I'm just like thinking on the day to day, and yeah, I just want to be better for our next match on Sunday.
Yeah, and so I mean you're still very young, right? But this year, I mean, you went from playing with Double Lift, which was one of the most accomplished ADCs in North America, to playing with Masu instead, which is a rookie, right? And he's in his rookie year. So I think you said in an interview that you like playing with Masu, especially because you like being like a bit in a leadership role as well. How has it been so far playing with him? And like, are you confident about your bot lanes level at Worlds as well? Do you feel that you can match up against any bot lanes?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we can match up against any bot lane. Obviously, I still make mistakes, but when we're playing well, I think we're top tier. And playing with Masu is great. He's super smart, hardworking. He's individually talented, and he's confident in his own play. Like he knows what he needs, and he'll like say it. Like it's really nice to hear what a carry needs from you in a team fight or something like that. And yeah, he's just great.
Do you feel that he enables you to shine even more than in your previous team as well?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because Masu trusts me that if I'm roaming and like even making him weak side or something, he knows I'm doing it for a good reason. And also, he knows I can get mind controlled easily. Like when someone tells me what to do, I'll just like int. But Masu gives like really good comms to me. He'll just, because he knows me well, like, you know. He'll be like, oh, you can look here, this, and he just like knows how I think. So I think we work really well together.
Yeah, and I saw that on EUS you picked OG Mithy as your summoner name, right?
Yeah.
I know that Mithy, I mean, he's been a big mentor figure as well for you, right? How has it been working with him this year?
Mithy's great. Like, he's super, super valuable. I feel like my improvement between spring and summer was massive, and probably the number one contributor was us getting Mithy. Like, having a support coach is super useful. I've never had a coach that was like a support pro player in the past, so like he helped me so much. He still helps me, and he's also just like a very funny guy. Like, you guys know Mithy. He's super troll. So I'm really glad I got to work with him.
Yeah. And something I want to ask you as well is actually a quote that I got from another fellow support player nowadays, Reckless actually, because you know he's in T1, right, LCKCL, and he recently said in an interview that he thought that the one of the main issues that the West had is that most of its players were unable to see the big picture in game and often tend to focus too much on like micro plays and stuff. And this is something I talked with Spawn as well, the head coach of TR, and he says that it's about like players that can't see, like getting one cookie now is sometimes not as good as getting two cookies later, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that is an issue in the West, and how do you like work around that? Do you feel like you're able to see more of the big picture as a player as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's an issue with just like lower level gameplay. It's something like Inspired preaches a lot. Like, he doesn't want too much randomness. He just wants to see the big picture and fight when it's important, because that's just the most consistent way to win. Like, you might not win as hard or as fast, might not be as exciting, but when you're in a winning spot and everybody knows what's important, what to focus on, when to take a risk, when not to take a risk, that's just the best way to play. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. Top level teams you see will be taking less risk. All 5 players know what the goal is, and that's why they're just so much more consistent.
Yeah, and something also that's very interesting is that your coach Nukeduck recently went on a show and he discussed how you guys were at the start at least avoiding scrimming some LCK and LPL teams because you had some very specific creative comps. I mean, we saw some of them today, right, with the Nunu and stuff like that. Is it still the case? And like, do you have more insane picks as well that are cooking for the next few games?
Yeah, I mean, we actually have a lot of funny picks just because we have. We're a more creative team, for sure. But also that quote from Nukeduck was funny because we actually did scrim Eastern teams before then. But we don't scrim them that much, and we don't show them our strats. But yeah.
Fair enough. And that aside, I mean, just overall, because obviously you're still a very young player, right? So, I mean, how do you feel like playing against all these insane bot lanes like Viper today as well, and all these players as well? Is there like anyone that you really want to face at Worlds this year as well?
I'd like to face G2, just because it's funny.
I mean, it's 2 very creative teams, right?
Yeah, and I think we'll beat them for sure. And yeah, in terms of just facing any like top level Eastern team is a lot of fun. Like, for example, today, you know, like before the game, it's like, oh, it's HLE. But like once you're in the game, you know,
turn off nameplates.
Nameplates are off, of course, always. And they're just like players, and you can see like the difference is not that large, and like very small things can change the outcome of a game. So as long as we're playing well and everybody's aware, it's just super winnable.
Yeah, and I heard that Keria was one of your idols in the past, at least. I don't know if it's still the case, but do you hope that you're going to be able to face against T1? Have you had the chance to interact with him as well so far?
Yeah, I mean, Keria recognizes me, like when I see him at the venue or at the hotel. Like he always gives me a smile or a bow, and me, of course, I do the same. And yeah, I'd love to face him. I still look up to him as. I think my development was like similar to his. Like, he was also a mid laner before he became a support. So yeah, that's just why I looked up to him.
Yeah, and in your team as well, I want to ask, like, how is it playing with Bwipo? Because I saw the clip from Champions Queue a few days ago, right, when you were playing Xingzao top. Yeah. And you just shoot the arrow. You're like, is this your dream that I'm gonna shoot this arrow and land it? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And then you shoot it, and then he just dies. He often has this kind of like int moments of it. Like, how is it working with him as well?
I mean, Bwipo and Inspired are kind of like opposites. Like, Inspired's super calculated and only wants us to fight when it's necessary or important or like very free. And then Bwipo's like on the opposite side of the spectrum, and they kind of keep each other balanced. Like, Bwipo, if you see a good look, just go for it. So that's what he brings to the team, and I really like it. Like today, you know, when we're strong, just look for anything. It doesn't have to be the perfect fight. It doesn't have to look amazing. If you just see something good and it makes sense, just go for it. And that's what Bwipo brings. And I appreciate it because it kind of allows everybody to be a bit more loose, and when they have their own play, they can go for it. Because if everybody's just waiting and listening for, or just like looking through like Inspired's lens, then if there's a good opportunity that Inspired doesn't see, you might not take it. But it's just nice that we have that balance.
Yeah. And we do have to close off, unfortunately. But I just want to ask, like, first of all, I mean, what is your expectations for the rest of the tournament so far? Are you confident that you guys are going to make it to quarters? And also, if you are confident, do you have a message for all the teams that are going to be facing you in the next rounds?
I'm pretty confident. Of course, we still need to play well in the day because that matters the most. But I think if we play well, we can beat any opponent we draw, and I'm pretty confident we'll make it to quarters. And if not, I just hope we have a good showing and I learn a lot.
Perfect. Well, in any case, thank you so much for talking with us today. I really wish you the best in the future. I mean, today was so close, right? So hopefully next one will be even better for you guys. But also for viewers, just as a reminder, since we have to close out, we are sponsored by Holy throughout this event. Make sure to use the code SE5 at checkout for €5 discount on any purchase. And Busio, thank you so much again for talking with us today. I wish you the best. Hopefully we'll see you in Paris and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.